Welcome to Gold Silver Pros.
Everybody, this is Rob Keens with 𝘎𝙐𝙇𝙄𝙉.com. It is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. Just about 3 weeks or so left in the year, approaching Christmas. Hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be the Thursday video for you guys. I did tease the fact that I was going to go over the new central bank digital currency infrastructure for you, and I am going to do that, but I'm going to put it off 1 week to mitigate the disappointment. I've got some really cool stuff for you today, and I'm going to give away a really good deal on American Silver Eagles. You're not going to be able to beat anywhere else, more than likely, at least not online. I'm going to do the CBDC series. I've about 75% of the way through my research, and I've decided not only to cover the CBDCs, but how they're going to function internationally and how cross-border payments are going to happen. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of infrastructure going into place to make this happen. So I decided to put that series off for 1 week. So next Thursday on the 14th will be, on the 14th, I'll definitely start that series. It'll be a 2-part series. The first part will be more on the domestic side. The second part will focus on the international side, or the cross-border payments, and how that infrastructure is going to work. I'm going to go over it in enough detail that you'll understand it, but I don't want to make it so complicated that you don't. And that's really what I'm doing right now. I've got the knowledge, but I've got to distill that down into an easy to absorb presentation. So stay tuned. I guarantee, setting this line in the sand, that on the 14th, I'm going to do the first part of the CBDC series, part 1. And on the 21st, before Christmas, I'll do part 2 and the final part of the CBDC series. I'm going to provide enough detail that you'll know exactly what's going on. I'll reference the white papers, the documents, some videos that I'm watching, all publicly provided information, and I'll distill it down into what I think this is actually going to be at the end of the day, and why it could be a threat to freedom-loving people around the world. And we're going to talk about how to maybe mitigate the risks of that. Trust me when I say you want to watch that series, and trust me when I say it's worth the week's wait, because the way I'm going to present the series is the way I think what I do best, is distilling the complicated down to what you can understand, and also what you need to know. I'm going to go A to Z on the whole thing. It's going to have it all. All right. Without further ado, let's get into what I'm going to present to you today. So I'm just going to do some Twitter polls that I have been running on my channel for quite some time. I think these are all pretty important stuff. And I think it shows how the community feels about gold and silver right now, how the community feels about the dollar, and about what's going on in general. There are 4 polls here. And then I'm going to get to the deal of the week. You guys don't want to miss it. Trust me when I say you don't want to miss it. Here we go. So the first poll I have out on Twitter: how long can the U.S. finance foreign wars before the economy breaks? And for the comments, do you really care? 48.1% of you said we can finance foreign wars before the economy breaks for 1 to 2 years. Additional 12% said 2 to 4 years. So we're at 60% from between 1 and 4 years. 6% said 4 to 6 years. The part that I thought was most interesting, as long as we want. That one got about 1/3 of the vote, slightly over 1/3 of the vote. And I'm looking at that going, those are the people that feel as though this system will never end. It can't end. It's never going to break. But when you see my CBDC series starting next week, it will become very clear that the plans are already in place for when the system does break. And it does have an expiration date. An expiration date isn't that long from now, and you'll see that when we start that next week. So I'm sorry for the 1/3 of you that believe that this system will never die. It's going to die, and they already have the next system in place, and that's what I'm going to explain to you. I did a follow-up poll to this, which I'm not showing, in which I asked, of the people that voted this last option, as long as we want, what generation are you a part of? And the majority of them were millennials and Gen Xers. I thought it'd be mostly baby boomers. Baby boomers were a big part of it, but it's the millennials who believe that this system is going to go on forever. And that may not be that they support the system. It may just be that they think the system can't die. And it's probably, if I think about it, it makes sense, because that generation's been affected the most by it. They have the least upward mobility in their jobs. They're getting the least great jobs. They have the least amount of any generation, along with the Gen Zers, of actual assets in the system, which is dominated by the baby boomers first. Second, the wartime generation, which you would think most of them are dead, but some of them are still kicking around. They got a lot of wealth. Okay. And then third, my generation, the Gen Xers. Millennials have the least out of any wealth, not only cash, but any sort of assets out of all those generations. And so it kind of makes sense that they would be somewhat despondent in their approach to this. But I would encourage them not to look too negatively at it because changes are coming big time. And again, we'll start that next week. Here's another one that I ran on the same day. How long before the U.S. does what Turkey is doing and hiking interest rates very aggressively to combat a potential currency hyperinflation? Turkey, that day that I put this poll out on November 23rd, about 2 weeks ago, we're doing a lot of aggressive hiking of rates to prevent hyperinflation of their currency. We know what's been going on in Turkey with their currency for some 2 or 3 years. It's been very big issues with it. A lot of it has to do with international trade. A lot of it has to do with their own economy. A lot of it has to do with export inflation from the US dollar, to be quite frank. So I think a lot of secondary currencies in the world are dealing with that. And that's something that will be addressed, by the way, in the new CBDC system. I don't think a lot of people are talking about, but I will, how they're going to address this particular issue with Turkey, or the particular issue with the US dollar, or the particular issue with the Chinese renminbi, or with the Argentinian peso. I'm going to explain how they're going to deal with that in the next system. So this poll is really important. 43.8%, almost half, said 1 to 2 years before the U.S. has to deal with hyperinflation. 17.5% said 2 to 4, 17.5% said 4 to 6, and about a fifth said, I ignore math forever. Again, similar to this poll, as long as we want, we can finance foreign wars, but slightly less said hyperinflation. So apparently some of you think that we can have hyperinflation and still finance foreign wars. I don't understand how that works. If our currency is not valuable, how do we pay our troops, and how do we pay for equipment, and how do we import rare earths from China and all that kind of stuff? I don't know how that works. So there seems to be more recognition in this poll that, yeah, we're probably going to have dollar problems, but people still think that even after we have dollar problems, we can police the world and participate in all these foreign wars. I think there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance there. I do think that if the currency collapses, we're not going to be able to finance all those foreign wars. But anyway, those were the results of the polls. This one I ran more recently. This is 3 days later on the 26th. How many of you are preppers? And I mean the gun-owning, bug-out, bag-stuffing, flee to the country, not outside the country, but flee to the countryside when stuff happens. And I said, I'll raise my hand first because I've done some basic preps. So I guess you can call me a prepper. I own gold and silver. I have a little bit of extra food. You know, I have a gun. Good for me. I'm a prepper. I'm not the doomsday prepper type I can't afford to own, you know, the basement and the, you know, the gas masks and all that. But any level of prepping that you are, 45% already there, another 35% thinking about it. That's about 80%, or either already prepping or thinking about it. Why are you thinking about it? Probably because of what's going to happen to the dollar in this previous poll over here. Almost half of you think that we're going to hyperinflate within 2 years, and about 60% think in 4 years, and about 80% think within 6 years. So a lot of you are prepping or thinking about it. 11% said, no, you're a nut. And 9% pretended they didn't know what prepping is. I don't believe them. But I put that in there just to say how many people are completely oblivious in my network to what is going on. And they're admitting to be pretty much completely oblivious. I don't believe it, but anyway, maybe they're being tongue-in-cheek. So that was an interesting one. The last one was, how did the recent gold pop? And this was Sunday night. This was this week. I put this down yesterday because gold popped on Sunday about, by my record, as I was watching, it might have gone higher, but I saw $53.80 before I stopped watching it. It got kind of late. Then it retraced back down to about 30 bucks. I said, okay, it went up 50 down to 30. That's a nice rise on a Sunday opening, right? We don't see that very often. And the reason that was so important and impactful is because it smashed the previous all-time high around 2070. Now, it was sitting at 2070 when it happened, but you're smashing above that trend line saying breakout, breakout. That was a breakout. It was an honest to goodness breakout. Then on Monday, we had the big smash down in paper, and I showed that on Tuesday's video. It was clear it was a huge smash down in paper, and we're going to see next Monday when the COT report comes out. The more than likely it was the bullion banks, the usual suspects, but we'll hold that until next Monday. And then on next Tuesday's weekly market wrap up. That's why I'm doing those on Tuesday, by the way, now. I used to do them Friday and then Monday, and I thought, let me wait till the COT report comes out. So I do them on Tuesday. And I do look a week back on the economic data, but I want that COT report that comes out on the Monday so I can give you that on Tuesday. But we're going to see in next Tuesday's video who it was to smash the hell out of the gold. But this poll was like based upon it being smashed the next day. And by the way, it's up. As I'm recording this about 12:30 Central Time on Thursday, gold's up $5. It's been up 2 days in a row. It's up now to 2029.70. We'll call it 2030 even. Nice little recovery going on in gold there, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see, nice to see, nice to see. But how do you feel about the recent gold pop and the smash? How did it affect your view on precious metals? Well, almost 50% of you are fatalists, thinking that banks control everything. Another 10% said, I'm giving up, I've given up, I'm out. It's about almost 60% of you are saying, I give up. 59.7% are saying they control everything and I'm out. One of those two answers. The rest of you, about the next 39, almost 40%, a little over 40%, I'm sorry. I'm more entrenched now, or damn it, I'm jumping in. Not only about 5% of more of you decide to jump in, but what did I say on Tuesday's video? And what did I say on Twitter on Monday? We just woke up another chunk of people. Well, we woke up another 5.5% of people, at least out of these 465 votes. Now, granted, I'm a gold silver channel. That doesn't mean that 5% of the entire population woke up. But it does mean that that pop, however so brief, and the subsequent smash down, which people are looking at going, hello, what's going on with gold? It did wake people up to say, I'm now going to buy more gold and silver, just like I said it would. And now that gold is starting to retrace a little bit this week, I don't think they're going to let it this week retest the all-time high of 2070-ish. Previous all-time high, now it's like 2146. It's not going back up to 146. It may hit 2070. It's not going to do 2146, I don't believe. I don't think they're going to let it do it this week. But I think there's renewed demand for the physical. I've had people coming in the shop now wanting to switch from silver to gold. Okay, which is interesting. It was buy a lot of silver, buy some gold, then sell all your gold, and now people want to buy gold again. It's the schizophrenism of the market trying to react to what's going on, and that's normal. When gold starts doing these violent moves of $100 up and down in a day, you're going to see that behavior. It's human behavior. But I think along the way, a certain percentage is shaved off, if you will, into the I'm more entrenched now, or I decide to jump in categories. So even though a lot of people are sort of fatalistic about the control mechanisms, I think we do have a bit of people saying, yeah, but man, I'm going to jump in, or hell, I'm not giving up on this thing. And every time they do that, they lose a little bit of control, not physical control of the trade, but they lose control of the mind of people and saying, maybe I need to start adopting gold now. I think that's the type of control they're losing. They haven't lost the physical control of the physical trade yet, although that system depends upon confidence in the COMEX and the participants. If they lose the people's hearts and minds, if you will, they're going to lose control of that market. And that's what I was referring to earlier this week when I said, I think they're losing control. I said that on Tuesday's video. They're losing it. Now, they're not losing it all at once, but they're losing it. And if you look at what's going on fundamentally in the economy, people are wanting to turn to something safe. They're going to Bitcoin, which is raging, or they're going to gold and silver. They're buying it physically where they can. And a lot of the sales of people selling their gold necklaces to me has stopped in the last week. Since that pop, nobody sold me a damn thing. People are wanting to buy. I have a lot of people kind of window shop yesterday, but they're considering buying. So that little pop reversed that trend of capitulation selling, and that's important. It's important in the retail market to see hopefully the end of that capitulation selling. Now people are still selling stuff, but now they're wanting to sell their collectibles and wanting to get bullion. I had a guy come in yesterday and say, I'm getting out of collectibles and into bullion. I said, great. Now, so people are wanting to sell their collectibles. So people are moving within the market, but they're not selling as much of their gold. Anyway, at least that's been my experience. All right. We're down to the end of the video. This is going to be a short one today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what I'm at right now in terms of the video. Oh, a whopping 13.5 minutes. Not too long, guys. We're keeping it short, I want to show you the deal of the week. Let me come off share to do that. You see my bright, shiny face. I'm going to offer you guys something I think is a really good deal. Now, I shot prices this morning. I think it's a good deal. You can maybe find your local coin dealer, find a better deal than this, but on all the big online shops, it's the lowest price. We're going to sell our backdated Eagles. This one is a 2012, and I've got this one's a 1995 and a holder. I'm selling my Eagles. Only got to have a couple hundred of these left. Okay, a couple hundred. Selling them. And I'm going to sell them for $28.50. That's about less than $5 over spot. You say, wow, it's $5 over spot. Yeah, but the cost for me to replenish these from my wholesalers is right under that. So I'm not making a lot of money, and it's going to be hard to me to replenish. By the time I pay shipping and stuff, I'm lucky to break even on this. This is a crazy Rob sale. But I'm doing this because A lot of you out here will only buy it if I put Eagles up there. I've advertised the bars ad nauseum, and you guys reluctantly buy them. You do buy them. And this is the cheapest way to get in. And I've advertised a bar for like 6 straight weeks, and you guys aren't buying the bars. Cheaper premium. And I've advertised, rounds and cheaper ways to get in. But you guys want to, for you guys that will only buy this, and I'm going to give you the ones that are backdated. So you're not worried about, whatever you think they did with the 2023s and 2024s. These are backdated ones. These are going to be probably 2021s and before. Most of them are going to be 2020, 1990s and 2000s and 2015s, and in that sort of range. Only got a couple hundred, $28.50 a pop. Now there's some stipulations on that. You're not going to see that on the website. We're not going to put your credit card in and do that because there's credit card costs here. This is a cash, check, bank wire, or ACH only deal. Cash, check, bank wire, or ACH only deal. If I can avoid those credit card charges, this is the price you get. And the only way to do that is the same way you always do it on my website, is to go to the discount section. So let us go back. If you go to www, you have to enter the www.goldsilverpros.com. Don't just put goldsilverpros.com. It doesn't work. www.goldsilverpros.com. You land on our beautiful bullion store. Look how gorgeous it is. And you can get your metals, you can get your collectibles, you can get your jewelry. But right now we're on the discounts tab. And if you go down here and click on this button, it opens up this Google form and you put in your basic info. And I'll call or email you back and say, how many do you want? How do you want to pay? I'll send you an invoice. You electronically pay me. Or in some cases, people send checks. I'm okay with taking checks or cashier's checks. As long as you're willing to wait at least an extra week for that to clear the bank, I'll do it. But you got to wait till that clears the bank, or you can do bank wire or ACH. Those are done electronically. ACH is cheaper. I pay the ACH fees. It's like $5 a pop. I pay it. You don't pay. And it's done by you authenticating through your bank. So, I can't grab it from you. You have to authenticate and approve the exact amount. So it's safe. And I do this through the same online portal everybody in the world uses. So it's safe. In any case, you click on access discounts here and go to the bottom. Now you'll notice this is cheaper than the discount I'm giving explicitly on the website. I'm beating my own price by $2, my bank wire price by $2. And I'm beating the credit card price by more than that. Let's see how much the credit card price on my site is right now. For me to take credit card fees and shipping and all that, the American Eagles are $31.62. And if you go to my discounts, heck, it's almost the same bank wire price. $30.37. I'm giving to $28.50. So I'm literally giving you money out of my pocket. About $2 out of my pocket. Cheapest price I ever offer online. And the only way you can do it is by going to www.goldsilverpros.com and clicking on discounts and clicking on that button and filling out that form. And it fills out a spreadsheet on Google Spreadsheets for me. And I'll call or email you back and we'll get the deal done. I'll send you an invoice, you pay for it, or you send me a check, whatever the case may be. $28.50. The big online retailers are not selling these for $28.50 because they can't replenish for that cost by the time they pay their wholesale fees and stuff like that. I'm doing it because I only have a couple hundred left I want to clear. And we're going to put other projects in the store, which is a little bit more cost effective for you guys. And I want to give you a deal because I'm trying to get you stubborn guys who will only buy these into more silver. At the same time, clearing out some old inventory, it helps me out. All right. And remember, next week, super important, I'm going to do a 2-part series on CBDCs, both domestic retail version and international wholesale version. I'm going to cover it like nobody's covered it. 2 series. You watch both of those videos. You're done. You understand it all. And by the end of watching that, if you're not convinced that precious metals is your way out, I'll be a monkey's uncle. I'll eat my hat. Because once you see this new system, if you're not buying precious metals, I'm sorry, but you may be a brain dead individual at that point. I don't mean to insult my audience. I don't know what else to say after this video. The next 2 videos I do, the next 2 Thursdays, the 14th and the 21st. If you're not tuned in, you don't care about your financial future. If you're not tuned in, you're asleep and you're going to get slammed starting in 2024. The reason I've waited to do these now was one, to understand it maximally, because they're releasing stuff over time. So you have to understand it over time and get it all so that you can get the framework. It's not going to be every detail, but 90% of it's out. That's why I'm doing it now. But also in 2024, the financial stuff is going to hit the fan, man. It's going to be bad. So the timing on this is critically important on my channel for you guys. Critically important. And I'm backing it with a deal, $28.50 on these, man. Bank, cash, ACH price. To help you out because of what I see coming in 2024. Scary stuff, man. And again, next week. And I put it off a week just to make sure I could put this out in a format you're going to understand. I want you to understand it. I want you to sit there and your eyes glaze over because of all these white papers. But I had to wait till now to do it until the rest of the information came out. I could take it and put it in an adjustable format for you guys and do it only in a quick 2-part series and do it by the end of this year, because this is the last normal holiday season you will have for the foreseeable future, maybe for an entire generation. So timing is critical, critical, critical. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining the channel. We wrapped up in about 20 minutes. Appreciate you guys very much. Next week, pay attention. Next Tuesday, I've got the COT report that proves who smashed the all-time high in gold and who stole your wealth. And next Thursday, I start the CBD series, the most important series I've ever done on this channel and may ever do on this channel, and the most important series to your financial freedom for the rest of your natural-born lives. Do not miss it. Period. Thanks, guys. Next week, GoldSilverPros.com.